everybody, it's Dr. Carmen Bryant. Welcome back to my channel. It's Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you so much for joining me, all the new followers, new subscribers. Thank you guys so much. As you see, my scenery has changed in the background because I have been taking stuff out of my office to prepare for my move. So I've been putting it on my own wall because I'm going to buy new stuff for my office. So enough of the chit chat, small talk. So today I wanted to come on and I wanted to talk about narcissistic fathers and their daughters. And so I'm going to do another one, specifically narcissistic mothers and their sons. And then, of course, I'm going to do, well, I did the one on narcissistic mothers and their daughters and narcissistic fathers and their sons. But now I'm doing a role swap, So today I'm going to talk about narcissistic fathers and their daughters. So for those of you that may have learned, one thing that I want to tell you, gentlemen, many things that I want to tell you, gentlemen, is that you guys are very relevant in society. True enough, when it comes to women, a lot of times as women, we have been so wounded that whomever we have gotten with or women have gotten with ends up paying the price for every man that has ever hurt them. And a lot of times the wounds that they have received are father wounds. And there's constantly, a lot of times as women, they're constantly seeking what they missed in their fathers. So in a man, they end up looking at you or looking for men, and they try to fulfill a unresolved or a need that was not resolved as a child, that was not provided to them as a child. And fathers and mothers set a foundations for their children, especially a father, and for those of you that have been through narcissist abuse by a woman, I want to tell you that you are relevant. You are so relevant in children's lives. Now, I'm not talking about the ones that abuse the kids, because as women, we have learned to be the mothers and fathers in the homes. We have learned to raise sons and daughters, but there's an element missing out of that when you don't have a father around or a father figure like an uncle, to provide them with that balance in their life in reference to there's certain things that, a woman cannot teach a man. I didn't know. I learned, like anybody else, I put my son on the toilet backwards until his father, came into the picture and said, don't do that. That's not what you don't hand them tissue. Men don't wipe with tissue like that. Put them on the tippy toes and make them stand up. Simple stuff that certain things that just are not common sense for us, or teaching them how we don't know how to shave. Well, some of y'all do. Y'all didn't hear that from me. And I'm talking about the women. But anyway, I'm talking about women, we don't know how to shave. We don't know the difference between, like my grandfather taught me. My grandfather was white. And so he used that close shaver. Well, when I dated a black man, I gave him a close shaver. And he said, black men normally do not shave with close razors like that. It causes razor burns. Number one, the Caucasian hair grows out straight while the African-American hair curls. That's why they have a lot of sometimes shaving bumps, because of the fact the hair curls back in. So there's special razors to keep from cutting the skin, but I don't know that, because I'm a woman, so I didn't grow up as a man. So I don't know certain things. I don't know certain things about, what men think when it comes to sex and their bodies. I know what women think, so I can teach the male how a woman thinks, and they'll be good when it comes to what woman thinks. But, how do I implement a dog knows how to be a dog when you put the dog, sometimes when a dog has to be retrained. That's kind of ironic that I would use a dog, huh? But when a dog has to be retrained, a dog doesn't know how to be a dog. If you watch those shows, a lot of you watch those shows where they rescue the animals or rescue dogs, where a dog has never been a dog. They've been caged up, or they've been in a puppy farm or whatever. So they've never been around other dogs in order to know what it's like to run, what it is to roll in the grass, so they have to integrate them back in with dogs to teach them, how to be a dog. So having said all that, to say this, a father is so relevant, and we're beating up fathers. And I know some of you fathers don't deserve it, because some of the fathers are not narcissistic fathers, or not cruel and evil fathers, but you have narcissistic women that have, just made your life a pure hell, taking you to court, made it seem like you were abusing your children and that kind of stuff, so that's what I'm talking about. But, fathers play an integral role in a woman's or a young girl's life, because you play a major role in developing a woman's self-esteem, her self-worth, her view on the world when it comes to dating men or being around men. You feel a void in her as a child because it's that strength, that is there. A father that's able to take his daughter and say, this is what a man should do for you as a young lady. Do not do this. A man thinks like this. A woman doesn't know what a man thinks because we weren't born men, so we don't know testosterone. We don't know, how a male thinks. Only a man can tell a woman, this is how a man thinks. This is what we think of you when you do this. And this is what we think of you when you do this. Most advice that we have gotten was always from a woman, but we need to, just like Bishop Jake said, is that you got to ask a man how a man thinks. Can't ask a woman how a woman thinks. And a really good book to invest in is by the Honorable Bishop R.C. Blakes, which is the Father and Daughter Talk. He literally has a talk to daughters about how men think, what they think about you, how they view you. And so a father is so integral in a girl's life, to build her self-esteem. You see those confident women where a man tells you, if a man ever raises his hand at you, you call me and I will come and get you. So a woman grows up very confident. She's not, concerned. She's confident. She knows how she should be treated by a man, and the father is pure. He's not perverse. There's nothing that he'll ever do to disrespect or dishonor his daughter. So she learns by nature, her what we call it, her compass automatically, unconsciously seeks or is not satisfied with a man that treats her any other way than what her father has treated her. And so she does not accept disrespect because she never saw the father disrespect the mother, or she saw the example in the home as to how the father should treat the mother and then how the father treats the daughter, the screaming and yelling. And that is not something that she may be accustomed to. He understands the gentleness of a woman. And so he has paved that road for her, and the men are still out there like that, ladies. So believe it or not, I know it's hard to find them. I don't know where they at. That's far and few. No, they're still out there because they say the same thing about a good woman. Trust you me. You can't find a good woman. Ain't none out there like that. Yes, we are. Yes, they are. And so there are men out there that have learned to be gentle with a woman and understand that no matter how strong a woman is, you still are gentle with her. She's still a woman. And he teaches his daughter that, they teach their daughters, hey, in case it's not that you don't need a man, because you may desire a man, but I'm going to teach you some things, some life survival skills for yourself. Let me teach you how to balance a checkbook. A lot of that has been turned over to the mothers to teach that. Let me teach you how to do a checkbook. Let me show you how to change a tire on a car. Let me show you about the car so that if you ever get to a point in your life where you think that you need a man to do this for you, I can show you how to be self-sufficient in yourself. So when that man comes, this is how he should handle you and treat you. He should treat you. See what I mean? And so now when you're dealing with a narcissistic father, remember, a narcissist is self-absorbed, self-absorbed, all about themselves. Everything is about them. Everything. Now, if you're dealing with a somatic narcissists, especially those that have like porn addiction and are perverse, their minds are already perverse. They tell you that they're perverse, and they don't tell you by saying I am perverse. They tell you by the things they do with you, the stuff that they say, the things that they do, the addictions that they have on pornography. So when you're dealing with a narcissistic father, you're dealing with a very dysfunctional father that takes good principles, because those are principles that you implement to encourage your daughter to. So they'll take those principles. That's why it's so hard oftentimes for women to advocate for themselves and for their children, because that narcissist takes those principles and uses those principles, but he perverts them. What's behind the principles and what's in their heart and their desires is perverted. And so they take good principles, but they use those principles to love bomb and to pull those daughters in. They pull those daughters in, and slowly they begin to, what's the word I'm looking for? Slowly they begin to desensitize them, expose them to certain things and see how they react. Say certain things to them, program them not to respond, not to say anything. And, we have secrets. You can talk to me about anything. Whatever you say will come back to me. These are programmed words. These are certain words that they're using to program those kids. Certain things that they're saying, when you're over here, you don't say this. When I do this right here, you don't talk about this. This is between you and I, a father and a daughter. So they take good principles and they take those good principles and they pervert those principles for their own selfish and disgusting and perverse means. And what they do is they're grooming their daughters. Now, if you have those narcissists that are perverse, those narcissists that are somatic and a lot of things that they do, they're perverse. They look at those daughters as an extension of themselves, and as an extension of themselves, they don't have a problem with actually having sex with them. Or if they look like the mother, they handle them as if they are a grown woman. There is no black and white. There is no gray. There's just black, white, good, bad. And what they do is they groom those daughters, and they groom those daughters because remember, that's just like getting a new supply. You have a new supply, you groom that new supply into what you want them to do, how you want them to comply. They become flying monkeys to support them and fight for them. Well, that's the same thing they're doing with their daughters. They're grooming those daughters to become flying monkeys, to keep secrets, even to scare them. They use violence, they scream, they yell, they jump in their faces. No different than what they did with you. Jump in their faces, scream obscenities, use rage, pound their hands on the tables. They do whatever they can to instill fear in those daughters to keep the daughters from keeping quiet. So the daughters are now in fear of telling because they fear, number one, no one is going to believe me, or number two, my daddy loves me and they're confused, or number three, they've already talked about the mother to a point where the mother cannot be trusted. They triangulate it where the mother now cannot be trusted because now the father and the daughter have a special relationship, meaning that now he's going to do things or expose that daughter to things that that is inappropriate for their age and for the fact that that's their daughter. They handle those daughters as if they're the ex-wife or the ex-supply. They handle those daughters as if they're adults. And they don't see anything wrong with it because remember, they're applying the principles. So when questioned about it, they apply the principles. I'm teaching my daughter this. I'm telling my daughter this. Then they get to a point, ladies, unless the mother has died and the father is trustworthy, a father should never be telling a daughter about how to groom herself in her private areas. Anything about her private areas, anything that's intimate, that's not something, nor should a father be telling a daughter how to have sex with a man or how to have sex with that is none of his business, But see, for a narcissistic father, they take that and they make it seem like these are things that I'm teaching my daughter because I want her to be aware. No, they're taking it and they're using it in a perverse way. They take a good principle and they pervert that good principle. But a father should not be telling a daughter, I'm trying to listen if something was burning. But a father should not be telling a daughter what they should and should not be doing in the bedroom, how they should shave, how they should look, what they need to do to impress a man. Why is he focused on a man? Because he's telling her his own desires. So he is grooming her to telling her his desires. Now, as disgusting as that is, trust you me, is happening as we speak. It's happening with narcissistic fathers and perverse fathers, because these people are not right in their mind. They have a mental disorder. And they have a mental disorder to a point where it's hidden in plain sight, where people don't even know this actually is happening. This is happening behind closed doors. I live in a large apartment complex, and I'm aware of my surroundings. I watch people. I'm a people watcher. I watch people, and I watch to see when things are not right, where something's not setting right. I already know of one that is already perverse with their daughter. Because I watch it. And then at night, the lights are on. You can see the windows are wide open. So when you're walking, you can see all ground level and middle level. You can see. So I already know. What is going on. And that daughter has been groomed. Can I prove it? No, I cannot prove it. Can I say anything? I can't say anything as a mandated reporter because I don't have proof enough to make a call. You see what I'm saying? But you have to be aware that, and be aware. You think about the stuff that they're saying to you concerning your daughters. If you have if it's a narcissistic father and you have recognized that it is a narcissistic father, mothers, it is your responsibility. Grandmothers, if you're a grandmother raising your children, whoever it is, even if it's a uncle or grandfather that's raising their daughters, you have to protect your daughters, because these narcissists, you don't put anything past them. Not all narcissists are pedophiles. Not all narcissists are pursuing, their daughters or children in general, but the thing about it is, don't ever put anything past them, because they have a personality disorder. They are dysfunctional. They don't think like the average person thinks. You guys are trying to think from the level of your rational mind, but a narcissist does not think like you think. They don't see their children the way that you see their children. They don't see the kids in their innocence, and they're ruining these kids' innocence, and we have to do what we can do to protect these children. Now, don't get anxious and assume that the narcissist that or have children with is doing something to your kids. What I'm trying to do is make you aware of, pay attention to, talk to your girls, let them know what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, because those narcissists will groom those daughters. Pay attention to what is going on. Pay attention. Give them the freedom to talk and express themselves. Let them know, because they will triangulate and they will vet you and the daughter to make it seem like you are the bad person. You're the person that's coming against them. Your mom doesn't, or your grandmother or your grandfather doesn't want you to have a relationship with me. She or he's trying to tear you away from me and everything. And you guys know that is not true. That's what you need to watch out for, because they will groom the kids. You got to be careful, you guys. You got to be careful. But this is narcissistic fathers with their daughters. And this is some of the extreme cases. That doesn't mean that all narcissists are pedophiles. All narcissists will sleep with their kids. That is not true. Not all of them have, what is it called? I did a video on that. Paraphilia disorder. All of them don't have that, all of them, but don't ever put anything past them. Pay attention. Now that you're aware, pay attention to your girls. And we're going to talk about the boys later on, but pay attention to your girls and your boys, because some men will go after their own sons. So be careful, because some of them are, closet homosexuals, closet bisexuals, that they don't confess, they don't tell, and they're after children. They like children. And so they will even come after their boys. They will come after sons, stepsons, stepdaughters. Be aware. This is not the time for you guys to get relaxed when it comes to dating. Nowadays, society is not the same way it used to be at one time. Nowadays we have to be more alert with the sex trafficking and the things that are happening out there. We can't be lackadaisical like we were back in the day, where everything was innocent and kids can go play until the sun goes down, the lights come up, and you got Miss Ellie Mae up on the top of the street and people that look out for your kids. Now, you got pedophiles everywhere, and you guys make sure you go out there and vote, because they're trying to pass a law where sex offenders no longer have to register. So be careful at the bills that you are voting for. Go look and see what's attached to those bills. Study the people that you're voting for, because they're trying to eliminate the accountability system of sex offenders, where they no longer have to register as a sex offender, meaning that they can roam freely, meaning that you don't even know that they're in your neighborhood or next door to you. So be careful and pay attention to what you're voting for. You guys get out there and you vote. And so, as I was saying, this was a video on narcissistic fathers and their daughters. Hopefully this has helped someone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to my channel. It's Dr. Carmen Bryant. I was going to give you my book name, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Those of you that have asked about my book, it's Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. You can find it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook and Instagram, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. And I have another page that's Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Make sure you also go check out my mentor's YouTube channel. It is Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper. She will bring you information concerning the narcissist relevant and in reference to biblical perspective. And she is the presiding prelate of Enters Chambers Global Ministries. For those of you right now that are on lockdown back at the house, those of you that are looking for churches and you can't go out and find a church home, you are always welcome to go to her Facebook page. It's under Apostle Helen Sadler, or Into His Chambers Ministries, and you can give the thumbs up, like the page, and you will be at Bible study on Thursdays, and that usually starts at 7:30, 7 or 7:30. I think it's 7 or 7:30. Sunday services at 12 o'clock, and Tuesday prayers. You're always welcome to get on the line. Go to the page, and all the information is on there for those of you that are looking for it. And those of you that are also seeking coaching or counseling. Now, I cannot counsel anybody outside of the state of Washington. If you are inside the state of Washington, I can provide you with mental health counseling. Please email me at drcarmenbryant@outlook.com because I have limited slots because a lot of you you're coming through so I can help you. And so I get to meet you guys face to face on camera, just like this. I get to talk to you guys just like this. My big old head is in your camera. For those of you that are looking for coaching services, I do provide coaching services for those of you that are out of state. You can also email me at the same. All the information is right up underneath the YouTube video and for rates of what I charge for coaching services. And thank you so much for those of you that are looking for counselors. And you're looking for counselors, you guys are looking for counselors with narcissist specialists. You're not going to find that. Most of us don't put down narcissist specialists, but what you look for is domestic violence, trauma professionals, those that, and you can vet the counselors, ask them questions about complex post-traumatic stress, PTSD, regular PTSD and complex post-traumatic stress, child alienation, parental alienation, psychological abuse, the effects of psychological abuse, grooming children, how to identify when a mate or someone is grooming a child. Be careful, parents. Don't be so naive to jump into a relationship because your emotions are all in it. That's how they get you. And sometimes they're looking at you, but they're looking at your kid. So nowadays, it's not even safe to just go out there and just casually date or casually have sex with people because they'll do it, but they're looking at what you have and what you are responsible for, and that is your children. And so those of you can find counseling in your state, betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen. It is a sponsored link. So if you click on it, you get a 10% discount because you use my link. Also, if you're having financial issues, just let them know and they can provide you with a grant so that you can find a licensed counselor within your state. So once again, I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you so much for trusting me. A lot of you have contacted me. I've done coaching with you guys. And for most of you that know, I can be in the middle of a conversation, coaching or counseling, and I'll say, ooh, that's a good topic. And most of you guys write it down before you forget it. And I have to write it down. So a lot of the topics come from the middle of our conversations and people go ahead, talk about that. So I really appreciate the feedback. Thank you guys so much. And you guys go and be great.